Hey, good afternoon. This is Amazon Jew coming to you from Wyoming, 3/18/18. That's odd. Okay, March 18th, 2018. Snow is falling here in Casper, Wyoming, and we're into our natural spring session. Hey, global warming, guys. There is no such thing as global warming. It's called Mother Nature, and Mother Nature has chosen to dump us a couple, 3 inches of snow today on this beautiful March day. Uh, 2 or 3 days ago, we were running in the 50s and 60s, and today we're down to about the 35 and 34s, and I guess 32 will be tonight. And we're all okay with it up here in Wyoming. We don't have to worry about too much up here. It's quiet. We don't have a lot of liberal progressives driving us insane with new laws and regulations. And I wanted to get with you today over some of the most ridiculous headlines I read in this morning's paper. First off, Trump misquotes Fox News and accuses Comey of lying. Well, Comey admitted that uh, he had disseminated uh, intelligence intel to a friend of his that works at one at Cambridge College, I think it was, and that was top security stuff that he leaked to this boy. And he also admitted in the hearing that he leaked this information to get a special counsel, now basically to ensure a special counsel, which is Mueller. And then McCade is saying that he leaked information to media with the permission of James Comey. So there's a double-edged sword there with both of these guys. One of them's lying. Okay, either Comey knew that McCade was leaking this information and that had his approval, or Comey didn't know and he leaked information himself. Either way, you got two crooks pitted against one another, and both of them are guilty. So, no, Trump didn't misquote anyone. That's exactly what happened. And anybody who thinks different, you just need to sit down and watch the Comey hearing on it, where he admits that he did leak classified information to the press to get a special counsel appointed. Okay, next you got, they're saying that Trump is for death penalty for traffickers. He's just throwing an idea out there. Don't get your panties in a bunch. He wants to see what the public thinks about it. And if it's a good idea, he'll use it. If it's not, he'll, shit can it to the wayside, like a lot of ideas that he had that didn't bowl well with the public. So that's what he does, is he throws out an idea, and then you get to decide, whether you like it or not. Something that is new, something that no other president has ever done, was throw out something as an idea to see how the American people felt about it. The next article, House Intel Republican says panel did not investigate collusion. Of course not, because collusion is not against the law. You can collude with anyone you want to. It's when money starts changing hands that you have to worry about it. And the ones that probably should worry the most is the Clinton campaign, since that's what they did, was not only collude, but they hired and paid for a dossier that was full of salacious bullshit against another candidate, which was President Trump, which is also the basis of their FISA warrant. This whole investigation has turned into a joke, to say the least. And I don't know how Rand Paul and Trey Gowdy keep saying that Mueller is the utmost standing kind of man. Well, the goddamn guy was involved in the 9/11 cover-up. He was involved in Uranium One. He took the uranium over to Russia for Clinton herself. It's time to put a stop to this guy. $7 million later, and he's prosecuting people on tax evasion, something that the IRS probably should be doing to begin with. Okay, Trump required staff sign non-disclosure agreements. Well, I think we knew that. That's a regurgitated story by The Hill. These guys had nothing to write about evidently this Sunday, because half of these stories are regurgitated from last year, like people all of a sudden forgot about it. Well, any good company will have you sign non-disclosure agreements too, especially if they have chemicals that they use in their products, or patents that are used in their production. Why not the government? Trump is running the government like a business, and it should be. We're not in the business of losing money, and we're in the business of being accountable for the money we do spend. So I say hip hip hooray to Donald Trump for that. Trump rails against Russian probe, dismisses McCabe's notes as fake. Well, how come these notes weren't mentioned over the last 14 months? They just suddenly appeared. I'd say they were probably bullshit myself, because even Comey's notes, nobody's even seen the light of day of those, but the media sure has. And Mueller seems to be in a lot of deep shit, because all of his so-called star witnesses have really bad problems with credibility. And you can go from Nader, the newest one, who was convicted of pedophile back in 15 years ago, and hangs out with Billy Bob Clinton. And that photo, you can find it online, where they're all in the water together down in Haiti, looking like the Lolita Express in full bloom. The only thing missing from the picture was Jeff Epstein. And you've got phased out an analytical group that happened to work on the Trump campaign. They were called Cambridge. He used them for a little while, but they didn't come up with anything that was any good. I guess they're accused of stealing identities on Facebook. I highly doubt that Trump. That's probably why he canned their ass. They're bitching about the national debt tops 21 trillion. Well, 20 trillion of that is all fucking nigger boys. So if we're 1 trillion in debt on Trump after a year, and the economy is moving, and money is being made, and people are going back to work, I look for that to slow down. And the more money he saves us, the more that'll come off that national debt. Let's see. Trump's EPA rules cutting regulations. Now they're trying to say that Pruitt's on President Trump's wrong side, which is absolutely insane, because the whole idea of putting Pruitt on the EPA was to get rid of a lot of those regulations, because the EPA had overstepped their bounds many times. In fact, I know of one right here in Wyoming, Andy Johnson of Uinta County. He built a stock pond and went through the Army Corps of Engineers for the state of Wyoming, and got their approval and showed them their plans, and they came out every step of the way, and the pond was really great. But then the EPA came in with that navigable water bullshit and tried to fine Andy Johnson $66,000 a day and tell him to disassemble that pond. Well, they fought back, and the EPA lost that battle, as well as it should have, because stock ponds and things like that are necessary in Wyoming for a couple of reasons. One, we're so dry up here that stock ponds are great for not only cattle, but for the wildlife in the area. And secondly, what a man does on his private land is his business, and it's called a vested interest. And when you bought that land, if you had the idea that you were going to build a house, and you were going to put a stock pond on, and you were going to do, various things to the property, that's called a vested interest. And unless the zoning says you can't have anything, and there was no zoning on that area, so his vested interest, and that is the 12th Amendment, it was being violated by the EPA. And he won and kicked their ass. So the more rules you cut with the EPA, the happier Americans will be, not only in ranching and farming, but in business. So I commend Pruitt's decisiveness on that one. Democrats, here's how fucking pissy these guys are. Okay, McCabe gets fired because he not only leaked classified information to the media, but he lied to the FBI, and then he lied to the Attorney General. So now Democrats are all over themselves, because that was their golden boy. That was who they were going to put in as head of FBI when Hillary Clinton would have been elected. And now that he's not, and he's been disgraced and lost his pension, they're going to try to hire him for 2 days so that he could get full pension. Remember that. That's what Democrats thinking. They're thinking this son of a bitch deserves his pension after being busted, lying to the committee, lying to the Intel committee, lying to the ethics committee within his own FBI, which is the guys that oversee ethics. And these were Obama guys that were in there. Horowitz and that Obama appointed him. So to try to hire this butt plug to work a couple of days so he can get his pension, that's going to start a war amongst the Democrats and the Republicans that they have not seen the likes of. We've got to hold these guys accountable for their deeds. And this is the first time anybody's ever been fired for this shit. And it sends a clear message that if you're going to lie to your own boss and to lie to the Intel committee and think you're so arrogant that you can get away with it, then you deserve to lose your pension. And you know who else deserves to lose their pension? Comey, Brenner, Clapper, and Loretta Lynch, and Yates, and about a dozen others. Why should we pay these motherfuckers that were corrupt? So, and then you have little Rand Paul. Oh my God. This guy, you know, he's a Republican and he sometimes does the right thing. But his moral high horse must stand all the way to the gates of heaven high. Because he always has to put his 2 cents in. The fucker loves the camera as much as Adam Schiff. And I don't know why you guys keep electing him. He gets no legislation done because his shit is so fucking far out there that nobody could vote for it in good conscience. And now he wants to hold up Pompeo and Haskell's nomination for new CIA director and Secretary of State. They've already been through confirmation, one of them, Pompeo, and everybody agreed that he's good for his job. So, fine. So now he has to go through another confirmation, which is another 30 fucking hours on the floor with the Democrats. This is why Trump is wanting the 51 vote majority. We've got to get these guys into their chairs. 379 days people have been waiting to be appointed to their seats. This is ridiculous. The Democrats are slow walking everybody. At this point, it would take 11 years to get all of these empty seats filled. Isn't it time we did something about it, Mitch McConnell? Get up off your old ass and fucking do it. The Democrats did it in 2013, and things went along great for a year, and it sunsetted in 2 years. You can put a sunset on it in 4 years. Whatever the fuck you need to do, moron. But get your ass moving. And back to Paul Ryan. His moral high horse is almost enough to where I want to kick it out from under him. He thinks he's president. He thinks he can hold the president hostage. Well, you know what, Rand Paul? Fuck you. We've had enough of your shit. And I hope they vote your ass out this year. Okay, the last story of today that was... Oh, not the last, but one more story of today. Kushner's former company had bought 3 buildings somewhere in New York. I think it was the Bronx or something. And they wanted to redo the building, fix it up, and resale it. Well, the people that were living in there, they were on kind of a rent control deal. And, you know, that's the way it works. Business. It's called capitalism. And their rents were like $2,000 a month for these shithole apartments. Well, Kushner wasn't even, he was on the board of directors, but he never signed any orders saying to do anything. So the guys started doing construction after they bought the building to do improvements, and the neighbors complained about the noise and blah, 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 blah. Yeah, it's a non-story. Basically, guy's company buys 3 buildings, fixes them up, resells them. The rent goes up on the new guys. Big deal. It happens every fucking day of the week. Happened 100 times here in Casper, Wyoming. Okay, so Zinke gets attacked by a couple of bonehead bitches on the committee because he says Kanachawichia, which is good morning. Okay, so the Hawaiian congresswomen go absolutely fucking ballistic and call him racist. That's it. Senator Mazie and the other one from Hawaii, Duckworth. Both of them useless as tits on a boar. You guys could fire those 2 fucking bitches and never heard a bit out of Hawaii. You know they have no refugees down there, don't you? That's why they always vote for refugees, because they know none of them are down there. Stupid bitches like Camilla Harris and Gillibrand. Okay, sources contradict Sessions' testimony. He opposed outreach, Russian outreach. That don't even make sense. Okay, Sessions is a lot of things, but he's not a liar. And these guys are calling him a liar, which is bullshit because Papadopoulos, the little fucking idiot that is supposed to be a stool pigeon for Mueller, seems to think he knows much. But you know what? Remember, that guy never even met Trump. So he has no fucking idea what he's talking about to begin with. So, and the big pickle of the day is Senator Marco Rubio. You can't even believe this little prick gets on television and panders for McCabe to get his pension, knowing that the ethics committee was the one that suggested that he not get his ethics committee, that he is fired immediately. That shows you how much Marco pays attention to the real world. Florida, you can do better. Get rid of this little Havana cockroach and find a hero for your state. This guy is a shill. He's a fake. He's a fraud. And he's fucking useless. Okay, and final. I think that's it for that. So let's go to Twitter and see what's trending there. Passes due. Yep, he wants the bill. He wants it to go to a 51 vote. Like I said, Democrats did it. Why not us? I mean, it just does. It makes perfect sense to do it. Senator Langford brought it up on the floor about 6 weeks ago and explained exactly how that works. And I uploaded a meme with the video to mine with Langford and Mark, what's his name, from the White House Legislative Affairs. Him saying the same thing. You need to watch the video because Mark just rips into the Democrats slow walking all of Trump's appointees. Anyway, some of that is just pure bullshit. Media is going insane because McCabe must have been their inside boy on a lot of leaks and information, as well as Comey. And we're going to go up the chain of command here. And sometime down the road, it's going to land right in the front of Obama's front door. Because none of these guys did this on their own. This was not a rogue thing. This was marching orders, and we know it. And I understand to a degree why some are upset, because this is going to roll right up to Obama, which means that just about everything he did can be overturned because it was biased in its makings, and it was illegal for a lot of that stuff. And now that McCabe has been outed, you have to think that all of the cases that he worked on, those people have a chance to go back to court and correct the record. Because I'm sure this General Flynn wasn't the only one that those guys had railroaded over the last 8 to 10 years. So that's going to open up a whole new can of worm for people who had been abused by the FISA court and abused by the FBI. And I look forward to people filing new lawsuits. Let's really bust this open wide. Of course, there's Rand the Nut. Rand Paul the Nut. He's like a white Bernie Sanders, or a younger version Bernie Sanders. Chris Wallace got his ass handed to him this morning, too. That was pretty priceless. Trying to get a senator to bash Trump. And he said, look, you know, McCabe deserved what he got. He lied to the committee. He lied to the FBI. He disseminated classified information to media. All of those things are fireable offenses. And you know what else? Trump can fire anyone. He doesn't have to have a reason to fire any of them. He could walk down there tomorrow and say, Mueller, you're fired. You know, and this guy's fired. Rosenstein's fired. Blah, blah, blah. And there ain't shit they can do about it because Trump is the ultimate executive of those departments. I mean, his word is his word. And if he wants to fire your ass, he can. And there ain't nothing you can do about it. Oh, Eric Holder is having a big old egg. Little prick wants to run for office in 2020 after he got the border agents killed by gun running down that way. Fast and Furious, remember that? Yeah, that prick is probably going to be under investigation along with Obama for doing it. As well as they should, because the family never got an answer on why this son of a bitch allowed their son to die. And let's see, last but not least, big deal about, they're making a big deal over McCain. And, I could give two shits less. I don't think the prick deserves his pension easy. Either Lindsey Graham, another one of the sons of bitches that love the camera more than they love themselves. His little pals down in Arizona dying. John McCain, Mr. Songbird himself. And Lindsey Graham does everything he can to put the fuck to Trump to his face and behind his back. There's another one that could go bye-bye. And nobody'd miss him at all. So there's today's headlines and, should I say, regurgitated news. Twisted, unacceptable, and pure bullshit. And if American people aren't smart enough to see it, then I guess there will be a blue wave in November. But I highly doubt it. Because by November, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, that's 8 months from now. Can you imagine how much is going to come out over the next 8 months? Democrats, you might want to pull that rock in over the top of your fucking heads, because we're moving up the food chain and eventually we're going to get to you.